This is a very, very important thing to understand. Why weekends are important, because here, this is the nuts and bolts. These are the decisions that you're going to make on whether you're going to be successful on your journey, not only towards health, but towards fat loss or muscle gain or whatever your goals are. So you need to understand this in order to make sure you can maximize your results. So if we just look at this, why are weekends so important? Because you can ruin all your good work in one sitting, right? In one sitting, you can rule all your good work that you've done within the week just by sitting down and just by completely indulging. So what do I mean by that? So remember your goal. We said with fat loss or with muscle gain or maintenance, there were certain parameters that we need to hit. Now, if you have or don't get this or understand this, please go back to the previous unit about getting your macros right. So in this, we said in the previous unit, we said for fat loss that if we wanted to get fat loss, then we needed to get our TDEE, our total daily energy expenditure, and then we needed to take 15 to 20% off that total in order that we can create a deficit, in order that the body will then take that fuel from your fat stores. Any more than that in terms of deficit, your body will start to slow the metabolism, it will use less fat and more muscle. So we need to be quite specific here on the quantity that we actually want to do. So 15 to 20% is about the optimum that we want to aim for. Muscle gain, this time you're going to be adding a surplus onto your diet. So you find out your TDEE, then you add a surplus on top of it. That way you are adding onto the muscle, onto the body, so you can build mass. And here we said no more than 5 or 10% because we don't want to add any extra fat on top of the system as well. And if maintenance wise, we're looking to do the same as the TDEE. Now the reasons for that is we want to make sure that your metabolism is firing like a V8, that it's ready to burn fuel and to grow or maintain muscle depending on your goal. The more that we fuel the body, the better that we fuel the body, the better your results are going to be. So please don't think that eating less is actually going to help you, because normally what will happen is that your metabolism will slow, you'll burn more muscle fat for fuel, you'll end up dropping weight but not fat, and then when you start to eat normally again, you'll put a lot more fat on because your metabolism is slowed right down. So get this right, get these parameters right. So as an example here, I've put at the bottom fat loss. Say your TDE was 2,500 and your goal was fat loss, so we'd be taking 20% off that. So that means that you'd be minus 500 calories off your total calorie expenditure for the day, which means that your calorie intake will be about 2,000 for the 5 days. So that gives you a 2,500 calorie deficit for that traditional working week between Monday to Friday, all right, which is about 1.5 to a kilo of fat that you'll probably be losing, but pure fat, all right? Don't forget you'll be using the fat from your system. Your muscle tissue will be non-affected, and you'll also be repairing and building that metabolism so you can expand your capacity. So this is where all your hard work can be destroyed, all right? So if you've had, say, you've taken 500 off per day, gives you a 2,500 calorie sort of deficit if you're looking for fat loss, which would be great. All of a sudden you get to a weekend, you go back and you're eating above that amount, maybe, or you're sticking to that amount, but you're adding things onto it and you're not recording this down. Here's where it can be lost. 1,000 calories in a bottle of wine, approximately, if you drink a full bottle. 1,000 calories in a 6-pack of beer. 1,315 calories in the average Big Mac meal, and 2,270 calories and an average large pizza. Now, if you put some of these together, and maybe you do this on a couple of days over the weekend, then you can start to see where you can lose all your good work just in 1 or 2 sittings, and why your results may be hindered. Okay, and this is an important thing to understand, that your results will start to get hindered. It will start to create doubt, and it will start to create negative emotional effect on you, and you will start to see little or no results, and then from there you will start to be demotivated, and before you know it, you're going to stop with what you're doing, and you're not going to gain the essential momentum you need to be able to achieve the results that you want. So this is why it's really, really important. This is why we record our data. Number 1, to gain awareness around our consumption levels. Number 2, to ensure that we are not overeating. Number 3, to ensure that we are getting the right amount of nutrients into our diet to support our goals. Number 4, to ensure we don't end up disappointed and despondent. That is massive, because number 5, to ensure that we do not end up ruining all our good work. And number 6, to ensure we don't end up like this guy. Nobody wants to be this guy. Okay, and we've all had experiences of this, guys. We've all had experiences of it where we've been trying things and they just don't quite work. And I understand that sometimes we can get despondent with it as well. But it's important to make sure that we perform in the same way over weekends that we do through the week. By all means, have a couple of treats, but if you're recording down and you're understanding what you're consuming and when you're consuming it and your macronutrient contents, the more that you do this, the better you're going to get. The better you're going to see that your body can absorb and adapt to what you're doing, the more that you can make these calls. But initially, we need to make sure that we're recording the data, that we're getting the right amount of nutrients in, that we know our TDEE, that we know our goals, and we make sure that we do this professionally so we can get the best results for you. All right, thanks, guys.